going on, Raptors Brothers and Sisters? Sid checking in. And right away, y'all, I need you to hit that subscribe and like button because we got a few things we gotta say about the Toronto Raptors versus Los Angeles Lakers game that recently happened. I'm gonna give you a few seconds to do so. Now, you probably subscribed, right? If you did, good job. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about the main elephant in the room in this game, which is ironically not something that the Raptors did on the court, but what happened off the court. And that, yes, I'm referring to is the Toronto Raptors fans that were present at this game. Now, Toronto Raptors fans, what exactly were we doing in that first half? Because more specifically in that first quarter, we were out-cheered by the Toronto Lakers fans for the good portion of that quarter. And because of this, the Lakers were able to not only use that momentum to show their dominance, and also use that cheering to not only find different ways to draw fouls and have the refs on their side as well. Now, I'm not here to criticize every single person that lives in Toronto. And quite frankly, I don't really care which team you support. Each person is entitled to their own team and they have their own interests and whatnot. But I will say this though, when we are playing at home in Toronto, right? And we are getting out-cheered by Toronto Lakers fans. And it came to the point where, I believe some point in the third quarter, the Raptors stole a ball from LeBron James or one of the Lakers fans. And instead of cheering for them, the Raptors fans or the fans in that arena were booing at the Raptors for making such an attempt. That to me is an indication of the lack of trust between the Toronto Raptors organization and the fans, which is definitely not the case because, as you probably know if you've been a Raptors fan for a very long time, that the Raptors organization and the fans are always on a perfect harmony. But in situations like this where that trust could be a little depreciated, and what could happen because of this is the Raptors organization could make a really big move, whether that be bringing a new manager, bringing a new coach, bringing a new player, or even not deciding to extend a player's contract, and the fans won't even know about it. Why? Because the trust is not even there. Because of situation like this, where instead of you cheering for the Raptors, whenever they do something good, you're always booing them. So, hopefully these types of situations does not occur in the future, because I really feel that having these situations occur in the future will cause some negative effects for us, and it is something that we really don't need to have going into the future of this season, as well as the future as well, because right now we're in a rebuilding year, so it could be brushed off. But as we continue to get more momentum and we get a solidified game plan in place, if we have situations like this where the fans are basically against the Raptors, the trust will be diminished to the point where the organization may decide to relocate to somewhere else, which is the worst thing we want. So hopefully that is fixed going forward, and Raptors fans, we need to step it up big time going into the rest of this regular season, as well as the rest of the games that the Raptors play going into the future as well. Now, with that out of my chest, let's talk about everything that happened between the Toronto Raptors and Los Angeles Lakers game today. And since the Toronto Raptors lost, let's break down everything that they did well as they need to improve on going forward into the future games of this season. First off, let's give credit to the winning team of this game, which is the Los Angeles Lakers. And honestly, this game was a game of dominance, because basically this game just proved that a team with a dominant presence could somehow, some way make sure everything works in their favor. And that's what exactly the Los Angeles Lakers did. Whether that be the Toronto Lakers fans supporting them, whether that be the Lakers doing everything in their power to draw fouls and have the refs on their side, or number two, whether that be making the right reads at the correct time. Well, I felt that the Lakers did all of these things exceptionally well, and because of this, they were really able to take advantage of any situation that came before them, and ultimately were able to hold comfortably going into the half. Now, granted that they somehow just let the Raptors make this a close game coming into the third and mid of the fourth quarter, but when all things were said and done, their years of experience of winning really gave them the edge and ultimately helped them to get the win. So shout out to the Lakers today for using everything in their arsenal to get this win. Now, on the Raptors side of things, first off, shout out to Grady Dick. And honestly, I've got to apologize to Grady Dick as well. Not because I wrote him off as a bad player or anything like that, but going into last season when I was watching the game, first of all, he was a rookie, so I wasn't really buying into the hype that everyone was telling me. They were proclaiming him as the greatest shooter that the Toronto Raptors had from three, and he's going to make leaps and bounds throughout the whole league by the time he 15 games into the league and things of that nature. And I wasn't really buying into it because yes, he had a great career in college, but it's really hard for a person to immediately transfer all of those skills into the NBA. So in Grady Dick's case, of course, he played a little poorly coming into the season last year, and throughout his time in the G League, being with the Raptors 905, he developed his game very well, and he was able to show that in the later stages of the season. However, at that point for the Raptors, I considered the games that we played basically garbage games because we weren't really going in any direction going forward. We weren't pushing for a playoff spot, and we weren't really attempting to rebuild or rework or anything like that. So we were just in this weird space that I really didn't know where we're going, and because of that, every performance that Grady Dick had that were really good, I didn't really consider that to be his skill. I think it's just more like he was getting good and he was performing well based on the circumstances. But coming into this season though, especially the game that he had against the Lakers yesterday, I can definitely say that he's definitely a star that is going to be here for a long time with the Raptors if we decide to continue to sign him as his contracts continue to expire. Because this guy, day in and day out, he really wants to win. Regardless of how the other players on the team are playing, we can always bank on the fact that he's going to find some way to at least make his presence known throughout the game. And tonight, or rather what he did against the Lakers game, that was really something to behold, because not only was he shooting threes like he usually do, but he also did every other thing needed, whether that be an acrobatic layup, whether that be attacking the paint, and whether that be a mid-range shot, to basically make his presence known. And as we saw in the third and fourth quarters, the Raptors were able to use that momentum to not only excite the Raptors fans that were at the game, which they should have been already excited from the jump, but I digress on that, but also it helped make this game very competitive. And I feel that when the Raptors are fully healthy and we have a solidified team without the injury bug, I feel like his presence is going to be elevated to the next level, because not only will the pressure be off him to really carry that load, but also he'll be able to really get excited with the rest of the team, and ultimately will help us get some wins. And the other player that I would like to credit is RJ Barrett, because hey, he's living up to his nickname being the Maple Mamba. I mean, you've seen it today. Obviously, he had a rocky start to the game, being in that first half where the fans of the Raptors, it wasn't really motivating the Raptors to compete. But in that second half, when we decided to finally wake up, whether that be with the fans cheering them finally or anything else that happened during that halftime break, you could really see that RJ Barrett really took it upon himself kind of as the captain of the team to really shoulder everything and try his very best to help the Raptors get back into this game. I believe there was one point in the fourth quarter where we were down 8, and you can really feel the amount of emotion that RJ was feeling at that time, because it really seemed that the Raptors were able to pull the upset and win against the Lakers. And credit to RJ Barrett, because he went to his exact spots that he needed to be to make that happen, and because of that, the whole team for the Raptors benefited off this, and everyone else on the Raptors decided to pitch in after that point. So kudos to RJ Barrett and Grady Dick for the contributions to this game, and hopefully they will continue to improve and get stronger, and all the whole 9 yards, the games to come, as well as all the future games that the Raptors have this season, as well as the seasons to come. With the positives out of the way, ironically, in this game, there were only 2 negatives that I would like the Raptors to improve going into the future games of the season. And number 1 is the amount of fouls that we are causing. Because, as you probably know from the first quarter, the Lakers really jumped early and had like a big lead on us by the time the second quarter started. And mainly that was because the Raptors were playing a little too aggressive against the Lakers. Somehow the Lakers were able to find our weaknesses and be able to capitalize them early. And with the refs blowing the whistle for them and the whole 9 yards that came with it, they were able to ultimately cement their lead, and throughout the rest of the game they were able to just ride that momentum. So going forward for the Raptors, I believe that, not to say that we shouldn't be aggressive, because that's not what I'm saying. We should always push our aggression and try to make the most of every opportunity that we get. But I'm saying that on defense, we just need to be a little more careful when we're defending the players, whether that be going in for a steal or blocking the foul, to the point where we're not just slapping their hands. Because for some reason, the refs this season are blowing the whistle more often than usual. So I believe, from what I'm seeing so far this season, that any type of foul, whether that be such a small foul or like a really hard flagrant foul, all of it's going to be called. And majority of the time, I feel like the players with fame is going to get the benefit of the call. So unfortunately for the Raptors, at this point in their phase of where the team is as a whole, we cannot expect us to get that much of fouls from the refs in comparison to a person like LeBron, whose fame is like on another level. So I say this all to say that we need to just be a little more careful on how we're going to play defense against all the teams to come, because you never know when the fouls are going to be placed against us. And the last thing we want to do is have foul trouble, which is going to really affect us, especially since we have a big injury bug on the side. So hopefully the Raptors will come and play a little bit more conservative defense, but at the same time they'll be able to play some good defense as well against the opponents, force them to make mistakes that they don't usually do. So hopefully that is something that we improve going forward. The final improvement that I would like to see the Toronto Raptors make going into the future of these games is we need to improve our offensive and defensive rebounding, because especially in that first and second quarters, we were a bit slow to those rebounds, and because of that, the pace of play in this game was favored with the Los Angeles Lakers. And that is really bad for the Raptors, because if we're playing to the opponent's pace of play, it really limits the amount of times we can really expose who we are as a team, and ultimately this will allow the other team to really dominate the game and be able to build a cushion to the point where they don't really need to work as much to ultimately get the win, which is what we saw the Lakers do in this game. So to fix this, I believe that especially right out the jump, we need to grab as much rebounds as possible so that we can show our presence throughout the whole game. And as we continue to get more rebounds, more and more players will become more involved in the game. And as the quarters continue, especially when we go down the stretch, if the opponent decides to double team one or two players because they're having a really good game. So in today's example, let's say it's Grady Dick or RJ Barrett, and the opponent team decides to double team them because they're going off or going crazy again. Because the other players on the Raptors team got rebounds, at those points in time, the opponents will be forgetting about them. So what will they do? They'll just simply back cut, and either Grady Dick or RJ Barrett will be able to find them for an easy score, easy two, or whatever, even an easy and one. And ultimately, that will help us extend our lead or chip at the lead going forward, and ultimately make this a great game to watch. So hopefully, that is something that is expressed to the Raptors during their practices or during film session or whatever need be, so that even though we're in a rebuilding phase or rephasing phase or what do you want to call it, and we have the injury bug in our side, this could help us at least get more wins and help us salvage the season and everything else that comes with it going into the future games of this season, while everybody else is coming back and joining the team due to injuries. Yeah, overall this game, well, it had a lot of things that were very unexpected, such as the Raptors fans and things of that nature off the court, which I talked about in the intro. But it also had things that the Raptors could have improved on, especially because when you're facing a team like LeBron and the Lakers, who has wealth of knowledge at their disposal, I'm sure that all the stuff that was taught to them in this game through their dominant presence would really help the Raptors going into the future. And I hope that as we continue to learn from these experiences, these losses, and everything in between, we will come to a point where once the team is fully healthy, we'll be able to dish out these paybacks in tenfold to these teams when the time is right. But for now, we just need to turn into sponges and just soak up all these losses and experiences and just mesh them all together to the point where we just create the ultimate formula for any team, and after that we just write it off. So we will patiently wait as Raptors fans for that glorious moment, and until then we'll just continue to face these losses and face these wins and face whatever comes our way straight on without ever really backing down or losing faith in the team. So if you like these types of videos, make sure to give me one of these, smash that subscribe button, hit that bell, and the whole 9 yards. You can even share it with your friends. And until the next video, Sif, signing out.